Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. We finally got a taste of spring weather for a couple of days. A couple of hours? All right. I'm being optimistic.
It's pretty accurate.
We are going to start with Ki Eshmerat Shabbat, and please feel free to get up and dance. It's one of those. All right. Ki Eshmerat Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Leol Me'at Beno Beni Ki Eshmerat Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Leol Me'at Beno Beni Asur Metzochedes Asot Terachim Gamil Deberbo Devrei Tzerachim Devrei Zechorah Devrei Melachim Eger B'Toratel Eger B'Toratel Utechachemeni Ki Eshmerat Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Leol Me'at Beno Beni Ki Eshmerat Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Leol Me'at Beno Beni Bohem Tesot Amir Nofesh Lafshi Henei Lidor Rishon Natan Kedoshi Motet Betlechem Mishne Bashishi Kacha Bechol Shishi Kacha Bechol Shishi Yachvil Mezoni Ki Eshmerat Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Leol Me'at Beno Beni Ki Eshmerat Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Leol Me'at Beno Beni Hayom Mechubaru Yom Tanugim Lechem Beito Basar V'Dagim Hamitabelim Bo Achon Esugim Ki Yom Semachotu Ki Yom Semachotu Utzamechayeni Ki Eshmerat Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Leol Me'at Beno Beni Ki Eshmerat Shabbat El Yishmereni Oti Leol Me'at Beno Beni.
Well, Shabbat Shalom. Buenas tardes. That's how we say it these days. Buenas tardes. It's good to be back. I'm not really back yet. I just landed last night, so I'm a little bit this way with my time and jet lag and all of that. But if you see me falling asleep during the meditation, you'll know why. I hope not. It's good to be back in this space. It's good to be back together. one thing I was thinking about on the way here in my car as I was driving is that with all the songs that we were about to sing, how just 2 weeks ago when we were in Barcelona, was it 2 weeks ago? We were invited in this reform-ish community in Barcelona, and they literally sang the songs that we sing. They even asked me, what's your favorite Lecha Dodi? And I said, Lecha, Lecha Dodi. And they right there, they picked it up and they started singing it. It was like, wow. And there was this sense of unity in our people. And it's like wherever you go, if you walk into a reform-ish synagogue, you don't know sometimes where you walk, where it is you're going to find. But we all sing the same songs, speak the same prayers, understand each other, even though they had to translate my talk into both Ukrainian and Spanish, or Catalan, I should say, before people get upset. I discovered that there is no such a thing as Spanish. It depends where you are. And different regions of Spain have different dialect, different versions. So you have to be really mindful. But there was this sense of coherence, this sense of kind of being home. Wherever you go, there you are. And it felt really like home. And they managed to make us feel more than like home that night. And it was really, really powerful. And like us, they had tzedakah. Like us, they lit their candles. And they used the same songs. Sometimes the ends of the verses were a little bit different because they end sometimes higher than us, sometimes lower than us. But we could follow along everything, the ve'ahavta, everything. It was really fabulous. It was really fascinating. So, like us, they have tzedakah, and this month we dedicate half of our tzedakah to the JDC, the leading Jewish organization that it used to be called the Joint, that is leading the Jewish effort in Ukraine, actually to support the thousands and thousands of refugees who are fleeing Ukraine still in this day, and trying to cross over neighborhood countries, and they're working on the ground. And we've seen, actually, we connected with, in that synagogue, a group of young people. The person who actually was my translator, and she's doing an incredible amount of work, to support these people who are now relocating to Spain, for example, with things like just making sure they know how to fill out forms, to how to get driver's license, how to train them for jobs. Right now, they are finding them jobs that don't require the language skills that they don't have. It's an incredible effort that is going on the ground, day in and day out, to help these people find their roots, find their ability to cope every day. And the JDC that your board decided to support is doing exactly that. So as I'm inviting those of you lighting candles tonight, here in our space, there at home, please find either online on our website the little donate button to make a donation to support this effort that is going on in Ukraine right now. Or if you're here in the space, the tzedakah box is right at the entrance of the main doors in the central aisle. If you're lighting candles, please come forward. We are on page 14, Shalom Aleichem. Also a song we sang 2 weeks ago in Barcelona.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boechem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sheichem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Every Shabbat, we invite members of our community to come forward and share with us what light they are kindling in their life on this Shabbat. And we're going to start on our left. Linda Morris is lighting a candle tonight to express her gratitude for the life-changing journey through the land of Sepharad, the land of Spain. Thankful for Rabbi Olivier, who shared teachings from the Kabbalists on our long bus rides from city to city. Celebrating the exquisite planning that was many years in the making by Gerardo and the rabbi, and the contributions from Kate Elias, who provided a tour book to give us the tragic and fascinating history of Jews of Spain. And we traveled, you're right, through 10 cities. It was intense. And so her and Jim, who could not make it today, whose birthday is coming up next week, they are honoring all of us who created this tour, and also Gerardo and Kate especially, who at the last minute could not join us, actually. Next to Linda is Susan Moss. And Susan is lighting her candles tonight in appreciation of Rabbi Olivier and everyone's safe return, and in honor of the journey itself, as she witnessed it from Seattle as well. And especially as I'll talk about at some point, but not tonight, the light and the shadow we met as we traveled through Spain. It was a fascinating, unexpected journey, really. Next to Susan is Laura Gilman, and Laura is lighting candles tonight for her mother, Rosalie Gilman, on her 6th yard site. Stu Heller is lighting his candles tonight to honor and thank all those who made our recent trip to Spain successful, including Rabbi Olivier, Gerardo Ojeda Ebert, Andrea Simirad, our tour operator, and Kate Elias. It takes a village. It takes a village. And I'm actually thinking of Gerardo tonight because he's not here, but I know that he's lighting candles at home. His birthday is coming up on Monday. So happy birthday to you as well. Next is Diana Rose. And Diana is lighting candles tonight to celebrate 10 years as the music director of Bet Aleph. Wow. That doesn't make us any younger. I know at home also are Celeste and John Danker, who are lighting their candles tonight for William Chrismer, Celeste's father, on his 5th yard site. Whether you're home or you're joining us here tonight, I invite you to close your eyes for a moment. Actually, cover your eyes with your hand as we're about to say the blessing on page 1 for the light of Shabbat, and hold the light that is awakening within you, the light that you seek to bless, to honor, to commemorate, to mourn. And then join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת. Amen. Thank you. We continue on page 31 with Ya Ribon.
Ya
we come together to page 5 and we rise for the Baruch Hu. We're invited in that moment to, it says here in the English, to bless the eternal. How do we even begin to do that? It feels a little bit chutzpahdik, we say, right? It's like, who are you to bless the eternal? The Hebrew is actually a little bit different. It's got this little word in between the word bless and the word eternal. It's got the word et, Baruch Hu et Adonai. And most of the time, that little word et is there to signify that the object of the verb that came before, bless, is in fact the word that comes later. But the word Adonai, if it is anything, can never be an object. See, that's one of the issues with some theologies, that we place the God or the divine or the eternal as a thing, as something. And as long as we're going to continue to put the divine as a thing out there, we're going to misunderstanding what that is. See, Adonai is, if anything, the ultimate subject, the ultimate isness, if we were to understand it as a verb. It is the subject that creates and manifests all objects, but itself can never be an object, can never be something to pray to, something to find out there. It's something we have to awaken to within ourselves. So the et actually has a different possibility of being understood. It can be read as with. And now I read this as bless with the eternal, the one who is the source of blessing. Because we are asked to be conduit to the blessing that is always being spoken, that is always being shared, that can only become reality through each and every one of us. So don't bless the eternal. Bless with the eternal. Together. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Bless with the eternal, the one who is blessing. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Blessed is the eternal, the one who is blessing eternally. On top of page 6. We shared the words from the book of Deuteronomy, the words that are the central affirmation of our tradition. Words spoken on a Friday night in every synagogue around the world. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Listen, Israel, the eternal manifests as all that is. The eternal is one. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed is the name. The splendor of its presence shines eternally.
Ma Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. The words we are about to share are also part of the book of Deuteronomy. They're actually the words that directly follow in the Torah, the 6 words of Shema Israel. There are words that call us to love. It starts, Ve'ahavta, love. It's like an exclamation point. I came across a pretty radical practice. You might want to sit down. You're welcome. Back in November, it's very hard, but it's a practice that invites you to really embrace the Ve'ahavta. It's actually not taught from a Jewish tradition. And it is a practice that invites you as being present to whatever is here for you, whatever emotion is here for you. And he asks a simple question. Actually, ask you to ask yourself a simple question. Can I change this feeling into love? Can I change this feeling into love? You see, we can't change what happens. We can't change what happened. We can't change anyone. We can't change actually anything. And lately the world has been feeding us many opportunities to close off, to push back, to say no, to hate, to choose a camp, and to reject those that we perceive to be in the other camp. And we are the ones who are holding on to these feelings. Not that some of those feelings are not justified. Sometimes a little anger is necessary. Sometimes a little passion is warranted. But sometimes we also sit just by ourselves with places of stuckness, of resentment, of feeling whatever we are feeling, you know. Maybe that's happening for you right now. Maybe you're still holding on to something that happened just before services started, or whatever has happened today in your life. Can I turn this feeling into love? Or do I really want to hold on to the pain? Again, it's not like we are brushing off or dismissing or ignoring the source of whatever the emotion was. It's not like we're saying it didn't happen. It happened. Now, what do I want to do with myself about it? Even with things that require a little anger, or a little passion, a little opposition. Can we step into the spaces still with love? Still with that understanding that our limitations are everyone's limitations. And can we therefore ve'ahavta, keep our heart open. If not, it's going to rob us maybe to the moment, to the celebration, to the whatever comes after. You know, we're therefore unable to move through, let's say, the rest of our day because we're still stuck at 8 a.m. watching or listening to the news on the radio. You know what I mean? I wasn't really successful at this practice. It takes a lot of work. And the ego is so easily drawn into conflict. So easily drawn into conflict. But I think it's a real worthwhile practice. Can I change this feeling into love? Join me. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך. וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. We are on page 8, and we rise for the Amidah. We say together, Adonai sfatai tiftach, ufi yagid tehilatecha. Eternal One, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Adonai sfatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah ve'Elohei Rachel האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות. ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיים ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. You may be seated. It's no secret. The Jewish home is a divided home. And I'm not just talking politically here, where we find, as in every community, that Jews are on, let's say, all sides of the political spectrum. Jews are also holding multiple perspectives, multiple points of view when it comes to Israel. And we are blessed to also, amongst ourselves, criticize each other's Judaism. And that came to meet us even in Spain. Now understand, there are conflicting information on how many Jews are in Spain. I think from what I remember, the Spanish government wants to pretend there's about 70,000 Jews in Spain, which would be the equivalent of the entire Jewish community in Seattle. The Jewish community itself believes there's about 30,000 Jews, half of the Jewish community here in Seattle, mostly in the three major cities of Barcelona, Madrid, and Seville, Malaga. Those would be the places where you would find most Jews. However, in Barcelona, there are, if I remember correctly, 7 synagogues. I mean, there's a lot of synagogues for a small Jewish community. Why? Well, because they fought with each other. They're Jews who actually, there's a group of Jews who emigrated from Morocco and have come to settle back in Spain. They are more of a conservative band of Judaism. That's the kind of community that I grew up in. And they were breakaway communities that were created from one into another, and they ended up with 5 different Jewish communities. Even in a place like Spain, in a small country like that, with a small community, we are spiritually at odds, and therefore we need to create different synagogues who meet different people's needs, which in fact is great. One of the things that I love about the United States is that you could be Jewish all kinds of ways, and there's a synagogue for you. If you want to be Reformed, there are plenty of those. If you want to be Orthodox, if you want to be conservative, you want to be Chabad, you want to be ultra-Orthodox, you want to be progressive liberal, there's a place for you to go. It's amazing. I didn't grow up like that. I grew up with this one choice, conservadox. So it was, either you go there or you don't go. And for a lot of Jews, they don't go because they can't connect. So let's say that Barcelona, I should say, is blessed with having options. This week's Torah portion is called Bamidbar. It's the first Torah portion in the book of Numbers. And the first sentence says, in the wilderness of Sinai, Bamidbar Sinai, the Eternal spoke to Moses, saying, take a census of the whole community of Israel. Take a census of the whole community of Israel. Every single, the way you did the census was you counted really the male who were fit for war. Basically, that's how you created a census. And especially in this specific time in the history of the Israelites that are just about to move from Sinai and begin the process of 40 years of wandering, there'll be a lot of other tribes that they will have to fight against in order to make it to the promised land. So the census really wanted to know who was able to bear arms to help with the wandering. But what it does is that it accounts for every family. It accounts for every single person of the 12 tribes that are about to wander through the desert, including the Levites and the Kohens, who are going to be at the center of the 12 tribes traveling together. And each one of the tribes from the census is given a specific position to travel with through the 40 years. They're putting 3 tribes in the front, so you have 3 tribes in the front, 3 tribes on your right, my left, 3 tribes on your left, my right, and 3 tribes in the back, all facing in the same direction, because we are going to travel like this, right? Like this. And at the center is the Ark of the Covenant and the priestly caste. And that's very important for the census to know that each tribe has a place, and each tribe, because of that place, has a role. So for example, if we're attacked from the left, then the tribe from the left, everybody pivots towards where the threat is coming, right? So if it's come from there, or from behind, the tribes can pivot immediately. So that was strategically the way you had to do it in order to wander through the desert. And so I was looking at how they ordered the tribes, and I'm like, oh, look at that. You have all the different denominations, all the different families of Judaism, and yet they order together, and they need each other. You have the one on the right wings tribes. And then you have the left wings tribes. Then you have in the back the conservative tribes. And then in the front you have the progressive tribes. But all of them are needed for us to wander through the wilderness of life. All of them are needed. Every single one of them has something to give, has something to contribute. Everyone is needed. And all of us are wandering through this wilderness. And so you can't blame each of us for having the convictions that we have, for having the beliefs that we have, for having the worldview that we have. Wherever we are placed in the configurations of the tribes, you can't blame us for believing what we believe, for fighting for what we are fighting for. Each and every one of us, wherever we are positioned in the diagram, each and every one of us holds an absolutely valid and necessary form, let's say, of Jewish expression in this case. Each and every category, each and every tribe, wherever they find themselves, holds a whole truth. And a whole truth, a deep truth, a deep sense of belief, of understanding of the world. And so do we. So do we. And our truth, just as their truth, is also, as we now come to understand it, just a little part of the whole truth. Our truth is a whole in and of itself, but also a small part of the greater truth of Judaism, let's say. We are a whole part. Right? It's kind of interesting to think about it. Each and every one of us is a whole, but also a part of something bigger. Now, we understand that because that's the way nature is built. Every organism is a whole. A human body is a whole, made out of parts. A cell is a part of the whole of a human body. But a cell is a whole in and of itself. You see where I'm going with that? Everything in the universe is a part that belongs to a whole, and every whole is made out of parts. And every whole is also a part for something bigger than itself. And that is true in nature, everywhere, in everything. Like a wheel is a whole in and of itself, but also it's part of a car or of a bicycle. And the bicycle is a whole. That includes the parts, but transcends the parts or recreates the parts into a specific purpose. So we understand that in the physical, in the natural world, but we have a lot more difficulties understanding this in the political world. We have a lot more difficulties in the social constructs, that everything is a whole and a part. We have a lot of difficulties understanding this even in the economic concept that we hold. that everything is a whole and a part of everything else. And if this is true to Judaism and all the debates we're having within Judaism, then it is true with each and every debate we're having on a national level, on a global level. Any issue that we are debating as a people, as a nation, is a whole of a part. The way I come to this, I got that from many, many years ago. One of my teachers, Ken Wilber, who talked about the fact that, and it's hard to understand, but everybody's right. Everybody is right. From the place anyone comes from the place each and every one of us inhabit, we are right. Everyone is right from the perspective they hold. I want really us to really grok that, because it's so important. Because that's where we're going to begin to work to have compassion for others. When we can hold that those who disagree with us, that from their point of view, they are right, then we're going to begin to think about, okay, how do they see the world? How can they, from their place, from their point of view, how can they be right? How can I be sitting in their seat, walking the mile in their shoes to understand where they're coming from? And that's true compassion. Because that doesn't mean that I have to abandon my perspective, my position. After all, I am absolutely right as well. But if I hold that they are right and I am right, then I can find the ground in between, because there is something that connects us. And I would venture to say that what connects us, even in the most polarized political debates, religious debates, is that those who are fiercely holding the position they're holding, whether we agree with them or not, are doing it from a place of deep honesty of belief, of thought, of a deep moral compass that might be different from ours, but a deep moral compass, a deep understanding of the world. And I think we could come to agree that if we can see in each other that we're not evil, that all of us come from that deeper place of wanting goodness to prevail. Whether it's your version or my version, we can talk about the different versions, but I think we can get to the core that says we want goodness to prevail. We can hold that the truth they're holding is a whole in of itself, even though we understand to be very partial. Like it's missing this, it's missing that, just as they can look at us and say, the whole truth I am holding to them is only a partial truth, because I'm missing their perspective. If I'm rejecting their perspective, then I'm just partial in my truth. I am not complete. I cannot integrate all perspectives. So it's very healing for us to say that what I know, what I hold to be true, is a whole truth, but it is also partial. And if I can live from a place of recognition that everybody is right, from where they stood, from the way they see the world, they are right. They also hold a whole and partial truth. Then I can take the first step, because I believe this is the first and perhaps the only step that can allow us to find that common ground, that can allow us to begin the process of building bridges and to really position all the tribes in a way that we can all of us, lean on each other to cross this very, very wide and dry wilderness called life. And I love the way the Torah speaks of how do we take a census? How do we make everyone count? The Hebrew literally means to lift up the heads, because we count according to the heads of the tribes. We count every head. And the Torah says to lift up the head, because I believe that if we begin the process of bringing in all those different perspectives, to hold the whole partial context of every perspective, then we will lift up those we have to this point denigrated or excluded or rejected. And as we lift them up, we will be better able to make them feel, and maybe will be made to feel, better understood, better seen, better heard. And from that place, and I believe only from that place, will a holistic future be possible. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Amen. We continue on page 9 in your prayer book. A song that's in the middle of the page that celebrates and holds the holiness of the day called Shabbat.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת מקורי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת מקורי עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שמה, כולם ישבעו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. זכר זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקוראי עונג שבת.
I'd like to invite all of us into a few moments of meditation. Perhaps to close your eyes. And just gently, as you close your eyes, to find your breath. To be present to the sensations of the breath as it comes in through the nostrils, as it goes out. And see if with every out breath you can relax and release any tension anywhere on the body, the belly, the hands, the muscles of the face. To let yourself surrender into the moment. There's nothing else to do, nowhere to go. Just simply being here right now. Every out breath to let go a little more, to surrender a little more. I'd like to call up a word, just one word that we could use as a mantra tonight to continue this practice we started a few moments ago. The Hebrew word is ahava. It's like the name of the cosmetics. Ahava. If you want to see it in your eyes, in your mind's eye, in English you would spell it A-H-A-V-A. Ahava. It means love. But I love the Hebrew for love because it's a it's a release, it's a surrender, it's a letting go. The sounds themselves are an opening of the heart. Ahava. So you're just going to have to imagine the thought, in your thoughts, the sounds of the ahava. You can do love, but it doesn't do the same thing. Ahava. So time it with the length of your out breath. Don't change your breath. Let the body breathe exactly as it does. And if your breath is short, then it'll be ahava. And that's perfectly fine. If your breath is a little longer, then it might be ahava. It makes no difference. Just follow the natural flow, the natural rhythm of your own breath. Don't try to control anything. We're here to surrender to the moment. That's what meditation invites us into, to stop pretending we are in control. So just right now, find and be attuned to how your body is breathing. And as you relax a little more with every out breath, to add ahava. And let yourself melt. Let your heart open. And just surrender into the beauty, the sacredness of the moment. Ahava. Ahava. May the source of love that flows through each and every one of us also meet those in need of healing tonight. Those you have inscribed on our healing list and those you simply hold in your open heart. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, מי שברך אמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, הוא יברך וירפא. It's Daniel Clark, Maxwell Bernard, John Gorham, Katie Margaret Bank, Lynn Carroll, Eileen Wellens, Alan Walton, Arlene Ross, Sydney Hannah Young, Greg Lesnar, Katie Berry, Shaylee Cohen, Elizabeth Heath, Sandy Morris, Anita Vargas, Janie Leonard, Laura Gluck, Label Cohen, Kathy Sims, Eddie Tensman, Greg Kenny, Patrick Dillon, Maricela Cabe, Freda Alka Batshulamit, Sue Ann Abel, Edward Diaz, Denny Oswald, Jane Colombini, Jeannie Waters, Roe Bartzer, Louis and Betty Ann Richmond, Dolores and Pam Heller, Stewie Ehrlich, Denny Oswald, James Mahar, Ricky Levin, Marilyn Coleman, Trevor Dolan, Adam Fryer, Edward Mosshart, Carol Javons, Shoshana Kaufman McDonald's, Stan Sims, Mary Allison Castleberry, Jeff Oakley, Kenyatta Bennett, Kate Elias, Linda Morris. We hold all those we know to be in need of healing. ימלא רחמים עליהם לחזקם ולרפאותם ברפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף. And we share with them a song on page 17, Beyado.
Say should not fear. Adonai in your hand. Re'im you should not fear.
We continue on page 12 with the Aleinu, and we rise. We say together, we are the ones given this way of praising the Holy One of all being, that we might understand and express the greatness for the one who shapes all creation. We celebrate our uniqueness and that of others, and seek to discover the wonder that we are. Therefore, we bend the knees, we bow, and we proclaim our gratitude before the ruler of all rulers, the Holy One of all being. As it is said, then we shall truly realize the Eternal One as universal being. And on that day, the unity of being shall be celebrated by all. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula leyotzer bereshit, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. And before we continue with the Mourner's Kaddish on page 13, we take a moment to hold in our hearts, in our minds, the memories of those who have made their transition from this level of being and are continuing on their journey into the next. On this Shabbat, we hold in light of memory those who have made their transition in recent days and weeks. We are holding Shiva and Shloshim for Simon Garcia, a friend of Jerry Peretz, Thomas Might, friend's brother of Kalish Liviel, Ira Orowitz, a friend of Jackie Williams. Alan White, a friend of Howard Stein. Kiana, Lynn Carroll's friend's foster daughter. On the Shabbat, we also hold in light of memory those who have made their transition in the past year. Jaden Jones, Patrick Henelt, Stephen Skip Wayne, Mike Levin, Jeannie Warner, Willard Harlow, Elizabeth Egan, Gilbert Feldman, Lavi Cohen, Ruth Veldi Cowan, Marshall Hartman, Janet Koloff, Roberta Allor, Samuel Gersonovich, Harry Laufer, Pauline Morris, Daniel Glosser, Michael Ben Yaakov Vesara, Chris Werner Machel, Nan Benson, Donna Mary Harris, Jerry Sutton, Lillian Denker, Mary Gordon, Ted Kuwana, Sylvia Singer, Vicky Bross, Michael, Mickey Stern, Phyllis Levin, Marion Meisinger, Leonard Shaw, Dr. Joan Margaret, Dr. Murray Mulliken, Robert Platre, Donald Meadow, Leah Vetter. On the Shabbat, we also hold light of memory for those whose yahrzeit happens at this time of the year. Bill Krismer, Rosalie Gilman, Hugh Capel Dorshuk, Leonard Morris, Saul Mark. Join me. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, be'alma divera chirote v'yamlich malchote, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chaye debeit ועגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתהלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. May the one who creates harmony above make peace for us, for all the household of Israel, and for all the peoples of the world. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen. Just a couple of announcements before we close our service tonight. We won't have our ongoing study of the Guide of the Perplexed tomorrow. You may be seated, by the way. I will ask you to rise in just a moment. Because I'm on a different time zone as you are, I prefer to give myself a couple days to recover before I start doing that again. However, against my better judgment, I decided to have Tikkun Leil Shavuot tomorrow night. We'll come together on Zoom at 8 p.m. and we'll go as long as I can go. Maybe it'll be 8:20, and we'll find out. But we're going to study the Zohar and specifically the passage that deals with the Ten Commandments. And I wanted to do that this year specifically because coming back from Spain and from Leon in Spain, we talked a lot about the Zohar and Moses de Leon, who is known to be the author of this masterpiece of Kabbalah. So join me at 8 p.m. There was an email sent today. You have the link to the Zoom call as well as the PDF to have in front of you to study. And we might go until 3 in the morning. I don't know. My schedule is completely upside down, so I don't know when I'm up and when I'm not. So we'll see. If you're up on Sunday morning at 7:30, you could turn your TV on. What is the channel? It's on Me TV, is that right? Where you will see me and the amigos talking about discussing how each of our tradition connect with the greater issue at hand, which is global warming. And it's in 2 parts, and part 1 is 7:30 on Sunday morning. So if you're like me or off schedule, you might bump into it. Okay. We're going to count the Omer for the last time. Please rise. As we are closing the penultimate day of our counting the Omer. I can't tell you which day it is, but I can tell you it's no longer the 48th day. Join me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Blessed One, you are the emptiness that manifests as all form, the source of all that is. You sanctify us through our performing holy deeds and give us this practice of counting the days of Omer. Today is the 49th day of the Omer, the last day. Congratulations. You've made it, I hope, I don't know. We'll close tonight with a song that is not in your prayer book, but you know the words by heart. Oh, and by the way, please join us downstairs for our Kiddush, Motzi, and to come together for Oneg. We're starting this tradition again. The words of the song are not in your prayer book. They are Bim for the first one and Bam for the second one. Shabbat Shalom.
Those are the other 2 words.
Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, ya da 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 da. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, ya da 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 da. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.